The biggest mistake bands make when promoting their music is not subscribing to this channel where we make videos like this every single week to help you and your music career. Okay, in all seriousness, the biggest misconception of promoting music, or in general in advertising across the board, is thinking that reach and the number of people who hear your message is the answer. There is a huge difference in getting your music in front of people and getting your music in front of the right people. If you're struggling because it's hard to define our music, or you think it's great because of the eclectic mix who shows up to your shows, then you have a problem. And more importantly, you have an expensive problem. You need to spend the time, money, and energy in defining your audience. And just as importantly, defining the message that is going to go to that audience. Reach is something we are all after, but reach is not about interrupting a 40-year-old soccer mum if you're a grindcore band. Reach is about interrupting the right people with the right message to bring them value. Let me tell you a story. A long time ago, when we started BIMM, we were advertising in a lot of the music magazines. In Guitarist, Guitar Techniques, Total Guitar, Bassist, God rest his soul, Rhythm, all of the magazines which were dedicated for musicians because we were dealing with music education. But then we had this idea to advertise on local radio because we wanted the whole of our city to know what we were doing. So we spent £5,000 on a local advertising campaign on the radio over 6 weeks. The phone did not ring once. Not one email, not one inquiry, not one phone call. The problem was we spent our time, effort, energy, and money on advertising to the wrong audience. But it wasn't about reach, because 250,000 people in the local community heard about what we were doing, but nobody cared. To build your audience, you need to give people a reason to come on your journey, and a big reason is conversation. It's you being in the room in order to build this relationship. Have you ever asked a teenager a question? Like, how was your day? The answer is usually, yeah, it's fine. That is what you get from a teenager. But you have to remember that we're not asking the question because we want the answer. We're asking the question because we want to start an emotional connection. We want to start a meaningful engagement. We don't care about the answer of whether the day was good unless the day was horrifically bad. We're trying to do something more than that. Questions are great, but stop asking questions for engagement and for your ego, and start asking questions so that you can build relationships and start conversations. People don't spread your message for you. People spread your message for them. It's because they believe and they want everyone to know who they are, not who you are. This is social currency. You need to give people reasons to build their social currency and not expect to use their social standing for yourself. In the last video I made, I talked about how to promote your music, and I had loads of comments, and several of the comments were still referring back to this big swing. They were still after the reach. If I get enough people to see what I'm doing, then some people will come with me on my journey. The issue is this is very, very expensive and time consuming, and for a lot of intents purposes, very demoralizing when it isn't working. If you're thinking about reach and how you can get 1 million people to see what you do, then you are using the wrong measuring stick. We need to get to 10 people who will come on your journey rather than 100,000 people where 10 people will come on your journey, because I promise you it's a lot easier to get to those 10 and convert them than it is to try and get in front of 100,000 people in order to get those 10. Please don't underestimate the small steps every day. There was a very, very famous book called Chicken Soup for the Soul, which went global. And the reason is because they set a target for themselves, which is to do 2 things every single day that will promote or push the book, no matter how small or how big. Some of those things were massive as it grew, but it all started with just 2 conversations or 2 blogs or anything that they could do, which were just 2 small things every single day to make a difference. And that led to momentum and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you're thinking about these massive swings and massive right hooks, you're going to be disappointed. Thanks for watching. If you can do me a favor, like, subscribe, the usual stuff. More importantly, come and be a part of this community and leave a comment below, because not only do I love reading them, but when I can, I love to get involved in the conversation. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.